Hi, this is Jay Kerr, and welcome to my series of videos where I'm going to be talking about my life in the music industry, my life as in the writing publishing industry, as a tech business consultant to Silicon Valley, and who knows what else. And it's all done to celebrate the release of my first science fiction novel, Thursday, which comes out on November 1st. So, what kind of stories do I have to tell, you may ask? Well, this one is about someone in this picture, and it's not me, that guy there with hair, as opposed to this. That's the Foo Fighters, and that was me at their record release party in 1999 in Brentwood, their manager's house, Gary Gersh. And it's actually a story about this guy right there, Taylor Hawkins. Taylor Hawkins is the drummer, or was the drummer for the Foo Fighters until he passed away recently. And I wanted to just describe my experience with him because he was a truly amazing, amazing guy. Um, you meet a lot of celebrities in various circles in Los Angeles and in your career, in the music industry or writing, what have you. And you generally get a sense that everybody's a pretty good person. They're nice, they're kind. In a lot of instances, when they're surrounded by fans, they're generous, overly generous, in fact, with their time. Um, and in this case, Taylor Hawkins was not only all of those things, but he was probably the most humble rock star I've ever dealt with. In fact, his band, his own band, I believe was called the Coattail Riders. Like he was riding others' coattails, even though it was his band. When I met him in Brentwood, everybody was focused on Dave Grohl, who's also a very, very nice guy. And I went over and just kind of hung out at the food table with the cheese and fruit and veggies and stuff, and they had beers in a ice box and things like that. And everybody's over there, crowding with the band, and I'm hanging at there, just kind of picking at food and drinking a beer. And Taylor walks over to get something to eat, and we just start talking. And it was one of those moments where you're just kind of hanging out with somebody. And I was asking him about being in the band. Dave had just come from Nirvana a few years earlier, and he was making his mark in Foo Fighters, and they were just on the verge of becoming massive. They were big, but they weren't massive yet. And what it was like, and I applauded his work as the drummer because he truly is a fantastic drummer. And he was kind of like this, aw shucks type of guy. Like, it's an apocryphal story now, but it's absolutely true. He said this to me face to face. He's like, I'm not even the best drummer in the band, was his point to me, referring to Dave Grohl, who was obviously the drummer for Nirvana and the founder of Foo Fighters. Um, and I kind of poo-pooed it and said, no, no, you're an amazing drummer. And he was legitimately saying, like, I don't deserve any of this attention that you're giving me. Really, the attention should be where all the other people are, crowding around Dave Grohl. And it was a really good. We talked for probably like 45 minutes about being on the road. He asked me about my experience being on the road with various bands. We laughed about stories with Henry Rollins and some others. And through it all, he was just really like, I'm uncomfortable talking about all this stuff. I just want to do my thing, help others, and move on. And the stories about him are exactly like that. He was always that person who helped other drummers and other people in the rock industry to achieve their dreams. He was a big, big cheerleader. So I really miss him. He wasn't a personal friend. He wasn't even an acquaintance. He was just someone who I met. Two ships kind of passing alongside, and we stopped and had a conversation. But it was clear to me that his humility, his humanity, and his kind of like love of just doing what he was doing and wanting to help others achieve the same thing that he did because he felt so lucky was rare and admirable. Um, really appreciated the time I spent with him, and like I said, there's pretty much all stars that you meet them, celebrities as it were, are nice people. They're nice people. but not all of them are as so incredibly humble as Taylor Hawkins was. And you know, he had every reason to flaunt his skills and where he was in the world, and he didn't. Anyway, that was one more story. A little sad because he passed away, and you know, it's a story about someone who just doesn't have the opportunity to continue what he was doing anymore. But you know, that's life, and not all of these stories are going to be about you know, Clive Davis record, you know, Grammy parties. Thanks for listening and viewing these videos. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying them, and I'll have another one for you tomorrow. Thanks.